Thank you, Acting Speaker, and if you can indulge me on this, it'll be probably slow and painful for me. It's usually a pleasure to rise on a bill, but I'm struggling a bit today. But I rise in favour of the Confiscation Amendment, Unexplained Wealth Bill 2024. And from the outset, I'd like to thank the Attorney-General from the other place and the Minister for Police. Both of their teams have put in an immense effort into this piece of legislation and more broadly into ensuring the safety of the Victorian community. For a little bit of context, Acting Speaker, since coming to government, we on this side of the House have invested billions into the Victoria Police, $4.5 billion in fact, which makes a significant difference on the ground across our community. And it has resulted in 3,600 new sworn police officers on the ground on patrol in Victoria, and including in the Glen Waverley district. And I have the privilege of actually having the Victorian Police Academy in my district, right on top of the hill there in Glen Waverley, and very happy to have them there. It is a landmark that is hard to miss driving around my community, and I'm proud that the training grads of our up-and-coming VicPol recruits are being trained in the mighty Glen Waverley district. And I'm very pleased to inform the House, Acting Speaker, that the Victorian Police Training Academy is at capacity. With regular double squad graduations, it is a case in point of our Allan Labor government investing in the boots on the ground. But that's not the only way we're supporting police in the important work that they do to fight crime in the community. Because when the Commissioner of the Victorian Police asks the Minister of Police or the Premier for new tools they need, our government is here to listen, reflect and act. And it is that which this bill is all about, strengthening the tools in the toolkit for Victoria Police and law enforcement officials. For some context, we already have a detailed piece of legislation in place, the Confiscations Act 1997, which gives the Victoria Police and the Office of Public Prosecution the power to seize the unexplained wealth of criminals in this state. And it is an important tool, but we need to do more to ensure that nobody in this state can commit crime and use those proceeds to bolster their wealth. That's why we're making the reforms today as a consequence of two pieces of previous work. The first is our Community Safety Statement 2018-19, in which the Victorian Labor government committed to a comprehensive review of Victoria's asset confiscation and unexplained wealth laws. It is a review that has been thoroughly undertaken and backed by government and resulted in two pieces of legislation. One moment, Acting Speaker. The first is the Major Crime and Community Safety Legislation Amendment Act 2022, which passed this place in the last Parliament. It's an act that made a range of improvements to the justice and community safety laws of our state, including improved powers for law enforcement agencies to identify and seize digital assets. Today's piece of legislation goes a step further with new powers to disrupt serious organised crime in our state and to stop those entities from enjoying their wealth earned off the back of illegal activities. In Victoria's existing Confiscation Act 1997, there are currently two pathways for the state to confiscate illegally obtained wealth. And with this bill before the House, we've listened to the experts and our law enforcement agencies, and we're adding a third mechanism to strip illegally gained wealth from the hands of criminals. Under these amendments, the Director of Public Prosecutions will be able to apply for a new order, an unexplained wealth order. So what does that actually mean? Well, if there are reasonable grounds that someone's personal wealth exceeds their lawfully acquired wealth by at least $200,000, then that person will have to prove how their wealth was lawfully acquired. And if they can't, then the courts will have the power to make them pay that wealth to the state. Importantly, the bill before the House also expands the definition of wealth so we can better legislate to capture the senior crime figures who often distance themselves from wealth-generating offending. So that expanded definition will now also include wealth that has been consumed or expended, as well as services, advantages and benefits provided to a person. And I think it's a very welcome change, Deputy Speaker, because there is a clear expectation in our community that crime, and especially organised crime, has no place in the Victorian community. It's not just what we say, it's what we mean as a government. And case in point is our $4.5 billion investment to put more boots on the ground across our great state. all from the terrific police academy that sits atop Glen Waverley in my community. And as I mentioned before, Deputy Speaker, the academy is full to the brim and pumping out regular double squads graduations of Victoria's newest police officers. Officers which are spending more time on the beat and less time behind desks, keeping our communities safe. And if the House will indulge me, I'd like to thank each and every one of our serving members of the Victorian Police for the work they do, day in and day out, to keep our communities safe. Our government is proud to have your back, and we will do so as long as we have the pleasure of sitting on these benches. And on a local level, Deputy Speaker, I'm very grateful to have a strong working relationship with our terrific Victorian police members, whether that be our Whitehorse Area Commander, our Monash Area Commander, or the senior sergeants at Forest Hill Station or Glen Waverley Police Station. My thanks go to each and every one for your leadership and also for your team for the ongoing commitment to protecting our community. Beyond that, there are so many people behind the scenes that make our criminal justice system tick smoothly, and my thanks goes to all those Victorians too, whether they be in the Office of Public Prosecutions, the Department of Justice and Community Safety, or staff our courts and indeed our federal counterparts. Policing and the disruption of serious organised crime is a shared task and a shared effort the Allen Labor government is committed to supporting. This is very serious work and it requires a serious and ever-evolving response. We know that criminals and especially serious organised crime groups are constantly changing their tactics, trying to evade authorities and make a profit off the back of illicit activities and ultimately off the back of hardworking Victorians. But as they change, so do we. Our government always stands ready to listen to our law enforcement agencies like the Victoria Police, and when the Chief Commissioner tells us he needs something to change or Victoria Police needs a new tool for the toolkit, we have a terrific Minister for Police and Attorney General who are here to listen and act. The bill before the House is an example of just that, listening to law enforcement, understanding how we can better target our crime prevention efforts and drafting legislation to make it a reality. I'm proud to commend this bill to the House and I wish it a speedy passage.